Okay, guys, I'm gonna make this as short as possible. There's gonna be stuff I'm gonna skip here because, uh, uh, you have no idea how bad the pollen is in New York right now. It sucks. Literally, I saw like pollen this big flying near my window. Anyway, let me give it to you like this. This was not a bad show. I want to make this clear. This is not a bad show. It's not. Collision wasn't bad today. But it feels like there's not really a great direction. It feels like they may be going to a direction, but then they go this way. Then it feels like they're going that way. It's kind of chaotic at this moment. Even though we're still getting built to Wrestle Dream, we're still building the Grand Slam, it feels like we're kind of directionless at this time. Going this and this and this and this. A little bit staying straight where it looks like they're having a direction. Then it goes a little bit like this and goes like this. And it just feels like it. Let's go for the VIP packs. We got Hobb and Miro talking. And it was fine with Hobb. But now it's very confusing a little bit with Miro. Because Miro makes it clear he is pissed off at Hobbs. Because he should have praised him. He should be praying to him. He should be glad I sent you to heaven and then to hell to show you what you are made of. But you screwed me. And now you're going to pay for it down the road. But then we're talking about the sexy wife that's flexible. And many men and most women want to know what that flexibility is. I'm just saying that if you keep saying it, I'm telling you like this. If there are women here that, if there's any women that see this, hi. But if you hear this, hearing him talk about his sexy wife that's flexible, there's no way you're not going to wonder, how flexible is she? Yeah, she used to be a former ballerina and dancer, but how much flexibility is there? Particularly if you saw her on, I forgot the chiropractor show on YouTube, but I don't remember the guy's name, and he cracked the living hell out of her. You wonder what flexibility she still has. But then you hear him talk about, you come at me, I separated from you, but now you bother me again. It feels like that. And you wonder, where is the direction going to be with Miro and CJ? And is she going to call herself CJ? We just know the hot, sexy, flexible wife. But we wonder where they're going to put her. Where is she going? The way it looks like she's going to help Hobb. That's what it feels like it's going to go. And it should go, because if Hobb still has a problem with Miro, his wife should be helping him instead of helping Miro, which eventually Miro should have realized how much he loves his wife, he needs his wife, and wants his flexible wife in bed. So he will eventually go to her, and it will be all forgiven. And the Redeemer will have the redeemed by his side. If you want to go there. It just feels like it's a little bit off. We still need CJ to do her part and join either Hobbs or do something. This is just me. Alright, the best segment of the night for me was when it came to Claudio and Eddie. I don't know about anybody else. I am more interested in Eddie and Claudio's feud than any feud that we got, period, on Collision. This is the most important feud I've seen and I am invested in. We got more than a decade and a half, nearing a decade and a half, when it comes to Claudio and him. And I want to see it and feel important, but you're literally setting up their match on Grand Slam instead of on Wrestle Dream. Why is it going on Grand Slam? Why not set it up for Wrestle Dream, a new show and a new concept for a pay-per-view? Why not put them there? No, they're one of the more stronger feuds that people think about. Look, people love Eddie. Flat out. They adore Eddie. Whether you like Eddie or not is your prerogative. But people love Eddie. And his promo, well, his video pack that he talked about, that I hate you. You know me. You know what I've gone through. I've been friends with you, but you turn on me. But then he says clearly, the way my sickness is, even though I have friends, I turn against them. I push them away and then blame them. That's on me. That's my problem. But next to doing that, you left holes in the road that you left behind. In other words, when he was wrestling in the independents before going to WWE, you left holes and showed disrespect. You need to fill those holes, but you never did. You were supposed to respect me like I respect you. No, you didn't. So I'm taking that damn time. You think I'm going to do it? And this is where he sounded like a guy that's up the street most of the time for me personally, because I live in New York. I live in the Bronx. I don't hide it. I'm a New Yorker. He is a flat-out New Yorker who don't give a fuck. He will tell you he's going to try and whoop your ass, break your face, and when it's all said and done, leave you in the middle of the street for everyone to laugh at your ass after he breaks you. And then, counting on what part of New York you're in, well, at least used to be, rob your ass afterward. People will come over, laugh at you, rob you, and then leave you with no shoes, no socks, no wallet. Maybe if some of them really nasty, they may take a piss on you just to insult the injury for fun. I'm just saying that doesn't happen anymore. That used to happen, I think, when I was a little kid back in the 70s. Trust me, in New York back in the 70s, that shit happened a lot. If people from the older generation, older than me, say, oh, no, we didn't do act like that in New York. Fuck you, I know you did. I know they did. If they were willing to throw bottles at me and my mother, who was a black woman and was a black wino, in other words, a black drunk guy who always got drunk in the street. That's what they called winos back then. Guys who would get bottles, drink most of the day, and just sit on the street and do nothing. That used to throw bottles at me and my mom, and he knew he was throwing it at not a white woman, but a black woman with a kid that looked like me throwing bottles at us. You know New York wasn't a good place. So that's what he sounds like. And I want to see it special. But it's Grand Slam, not Wrestle Dream. I'm just saying. It would make sense with Eddie. A dream is to get respect and to win that damn title. And you're putting it on Grand Slam. Let's move on. Toni Storm's segment. Oh my gosh. I love her now. Look, I always loved Toni. She's a gorgeous woman. Let's not get it twisted. I know just Alex, he loved that ass of hers. No disrespect to Alex or to Toni. The way Alex has talked, he wants to grab her ass. Let's make it clear. If you've seen his streams, he loved that ass. He wants to do something very naughty with her and her ass. But Toni is a beautiful woman, an intelligent woman, and she's playing her character so well. She's a diva. The true only diva of AEW. And it works. She's one of the most charismatic characters we've had on the damn show. And she's not doing anything. She's not in a super strong storyline. She's with the Outcast. And yes, she's getting a shot to get her title from Saraya. That should drop it to her. Doesn't mean she will, but it feels like having a crazy woman like that as your champ will give you something more than what you've been doing with the women lately. I'm just saying. And let's move on to the match that I didn't have a problem with, even though it's incredibly short. But I have a problem with what the concept is. And this FTR versus the Iron Savages. Very short match, maybe 2-3 minutes. They won. You get after that the workhorsemen wanting their shot. They come to the ring afterward and face him. Then Aussie Open is watching on they're being watched on the camera while they're watching on a TV. I understand. At least you are showing the next challengers for FTR. But the concept of an open challenge, I hate it. Look, we need storylines for the tag division. Whether you like it as it is, whether it's going match after match, showing how great they are, more power to you. But not everyone wants to see a match, and then another match, and then another match, and then another match that has no substance behind it, no story behind it, no mystique behind it. People want a little more than that. And what we get with FTR is that. The last match they had that had story behind it, which was more than a decade, was with the Bucks. And the story even before that one, which even though it wasn't one of the best built ones, but was so well done because of how well they did the matches, was with the Briscoes, which unfortunately, you know who passed away. It hurts. But this is what we got. And it feels directionless. It's like Tony realized, I don't know what I'm going to do FTR, so I'm just going to keep doing the open challenges. And that's what we got. And I don't want that for them. Moving on. Let's make this clear. Silver versus Bowman. Trying to set up the story of the Trios title where it's going to be the Acclaim versus the Dark Order. I'm not too surprised that Evil Uno helped to cheat. And the way it is, they're trying to set it up for this is another one. You got Caster, Bowman, and Daddy Ass, who are so over. And I want to see them have a little more story. And they keep saying, we are champions for now 20 days or 30 days or 40 days. I'm cool with it. But give them more story. Maybe that might be the title of this video. More story. More story. But seeing they're doing something with the Dark Order, I'm fine with, because I know this is what they got to do. They're not really doing much with Dark Order, so they're setting them up so they can go up against the Acclaim. But I'm going to be honest here. The person that needs to leave AEW, go to Impact Wrestling. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. John Silver. Johnny Hungy needs to leave, go to Impact. You know why? He's a strong-ass, short guy that is highly charismatic. And people like him. He should be a singles wrestler, and he should go over to Impact Wrestling. Yes, he wouldn't be there very long. But I think he'll stand a better chance of having something on himself than he is in AEW. That's lost in the shuffle. I'm just saying it. Aussie Open versus some jobbers. One guy nearly 6'7", 6'8", having to walk over the ring like everyone else, like Singh, like Satnam Singh, gets their asses done within a minute by Aussie Open. They get destroyed, and Aussie is basically saying, oi, 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 we want our title shots against you. Do what you gotta do with the Iron Savages, but, no, not Iron Savages. Here's the thing. I wish they went Impact, because I just don't think they're gonna get a lot of shine here. Because they don't have a lot of tag teams in Impact, and I think they would do better there than here. But then, I'm thinking about what kind of exposure they're going to have in Impact. Would it be booked correctly, and how long would they stay, for that matter? So, I'm kind of torn with it, but I do believe they would be better like John Silver. But you know what's going on. And now, hearing them say they were better than FTR because they got it done in a minute instead of 3 minutes, and they want their title shot. Fine. Okay. I'm just like, It feels empty. That little, like this. It just feels like that. I'm sorry. That's how it feels. Okay. Let's move on to Andrade and Elio versus I know Scorpio Sky just came back from getting injured back-to-back. But I don't know what direction he should go in. Is he better as a heel? Yeah, a bit. But what will he be and what will he accomplish as a heel if he doesn't know or what they want to do with him? The only thing I'm worried about is because of how they work together, El Idolo and Scorpio, that they may just team them together because they have no idea what to do with them. Because now that you see Bullet Club Gold bothering Andrade El Idolo, I have this weird feeling that Scorpio Sky is going to come and help him because you're going to see Bullet Club Gold treating him like crap. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. That's the way it feels. Because even though Jay White said, you need that rub from me, I have this bad feeling that there's going to be a moment where maybe El Idolo wins, but then he's going to get a beat down from everybody, and then you're going to see Scorpio come out and help him. and then they're going to start tagging together. And it might not be the first time, it might be multiple times, because they're not going to have an idea what to do to El Elio and what they're going to do with Scorpio Sky. That's how it feels. The Righteous versus... I don't know. I like The Righteous a lot. But I wonder how far they're going to push him. They won against the Hardys. Yes, they did. They did win against the Hardys. But since the Hardys are not being pushed heavily, since Jeff came back, they're not being pushed heavily. They're not going after the ROH tag titles, and they're not going after the main titles either from FTR. They're just not being pushed readily right now. I think, for me personally, what I think is happening here is the reason they're not being pushed heavily is because there's still a big question mark. Can you truly trust a Jeff Hardy after he just came back from rehab? That's what this... Woo! Excuse me. But you don't know if you can truly trust him yet. That's what it feels like they're in a holding pattern. That's why they're not going anywhere. Because it's like, Tony's like, I'm glad you're back, but I can't just push you immediately. You're going to have to prove that you will not fall off the wagon again. And it feels like that. That's what it feels like with the Hardys. Yes, they did have that new stuff when it came to Caster and Ethan Page. It was not that bad. But now if they're on their own again, you're going to see them have to really work hard to prove that, one, they can be relied on, and two, the one that can truly be relied on is Jeff, not Matt. Matt's been reliable, but now Jeff has to prove it. It's going to be a while. But the kicker here is that if this is the final road for the Hardys, it's kind of upsetting to think that if Jeff is on the last run, it's got to be here in AEW. And it's got to be right after him coming back from rehab. Because if this goes bad again, and this is his last run, it'll be such a sad thing to see. I'm hoping it'll be good, and it could be. But you get my point. Let me see here. What else? Am I forgetting anything? I'm sure I'm forgetting something. If I'm not, let's go to the final match, which is Statlander versus Britt Baker. Now, I did not see the match between a Statlander and a Jade Cargill, and I know about the rumors. Until it happens, I'm not saying yes, you're right, and I'm not going to say no, you're wrong. Until we get a full report that she's going to WWE, and we don't even know she's going. You know what could happen? This could be a renegotiation tactic. I agree with JD that this could be a renegotiation tactic on Jade's part to try and say, okay, I've come back after holding on to that title. Give me more money or I'm going to go there. Even though she did do an interview on a podcast saying that she loves AEW, she doesn't want to go anywhere. That could happen. But also, if you guys do remember, if you haven't forgotten, Trinity actually ran into Jade Cargill and took pictures with her. So, if her contract, which it is legitimately about to be up, what do you think Trinity Fatu may do? She know that's happening, and Jade's become a friend. So she may say, JD baby, yeah, I'm talking about Impact. Yeah, they don't make a huge amount of money here. You won't make a huge amount of money, but you're going to get a lot here from just things are so different. You may love it. You don't have to worry about stress. They're a little more understanding. They'll even agree with you for a bit. Have a year contract with them, and then you can go back to AEW. You never know. As much as people are going to say that she's going to WWE, she could also go to Impact Wrestling because that's where Trinity went. And no one expected Trinity to go to Impact Wrestling. Nobody. Let's make it clear. The only person that ever did was me. One of the few. And you can check through my videos. I don't know which videos I've been saying it for years. I've been saying it for years. When Trinity was not showing happiness, I said go to Impact. Leave a comment if you guys know when I said that, like 3-4 years ago at least. I've been saying it for years that when they weren't doing anything with Trinity, leave to go to Impact Wrestling. I've said it more than anyone. People want her to stay in WWE, and many people said she needs to go to AEW. What did I say? Impact Wrestling. And maybe Jay will go there. But let's go to Statlander and let's go to Britt Baker. This was a Britt place because she is from Pennsylvania. Let me give it to you like this. And I'm going to be honest here. The match was not bad. Honestly, it wasn't. But you can tell in certain parts of it, they really didn't want to do it. I don't know how to relay that. And people are going to say, what do you mean they don't know how to do it? Look, parts of the match where you can see where Statlander was supposed to be having problems, like when she jumped off the top turnbuckle or the second turnbuckle and she hurt her left knee. That was part of the story, that Statlander's knees have been screwed up pretty badly. She had to wear 2 braces, and Britt went after them. And that was that. But there's a way of selling that, and there's a way of not selling it. And most of that match, she was not selling it. I'm not saying she didn't sell it, not at all. She did. But there's a certain way you sell, and there's a certain way you sell because you have to, even though you don't like it. Because the other person's not too fond of it. You want to look a little more better than you need to. That's the way it is. There's a way of you selling your injury or problematic former injuries. And there's a way of you having to sell it, but making it very clear, I'm not fully selling for this person because I don't really want to. And that's what it came to Statlander. Now, mind you, when you look at Britt, that wasn't much better either, because when you see how the match was with Britt, at first she was doing exactly what she was going to do. I'm not saying Britt is a bad wrestler. She's fine. But you can tell when Britt is doing a certain thing. And then she's holding back. Because there's certain things I know after all this time of 4 years of seeing Britt Baker, when the match had to be held back a little bit because she could not outshine Statlander. Even though she had to dominate in a way to make her look weak enough so she could be beaten. And it wasn't because of the failed Panama Sunrise or the Canadian Destroyer. No. And I'm sure you're going to say, well, that was because of the Canadian Destroyer she couldn't pull off. Or the Panama Sunrise her husband does. No, I'm not talking about that. There was at least 4 or 5 different types of times before that happened for the Panama Sunrise. I think it was 2 times before the Panama Sunrise. And 1 time after the Canadian Destroyer. And then at the end, that it just felt like these two really didn't want to do this match. They had to do the match. They respected enough to do it. But it was obvious that Statlander was going to retain this. Now, I knew she was going to retain anyway, because there's no way that you were going to get her just jobbing right after she had the match with Jade Cargill. I didn't expect her to just job to Britt Baker. But then it felt like there was more to this. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that they just had an attitude towards each other. I want to make this clear. Understand my words. I am not telling you that they had an attitude towards each other. It was that they just didn't want to do the match. They just didn't. They had to do the match, and they did what they were supposed to do, their own respective, but one had to show a little bit more than the other, and the other one had to hold back more, and it was like, neither one of them wanted to do that. And it was like, what's going on? Is there something because of the TBS title? It's a question. Because if, and that's still an if, because we still don't know if Jade Cargill is going to WWE or Impact Wrestling for that matter, or still staying because she's trying to renegotiate by using a tactic that you better give me this money because I'm going over to going from AEW, WWE, or maybe Impact may not be mentioned, but if Trinity could go to Impact and see what she's doing, Jade could go too. And I'm not saying, and I want to make this clear, Jade is a great wrestler. Jade is still green. I agree with JD. Just Alex is not saying it directly like that, I don't believe. But I agree with JD. She's still very green. She's only been in business 2.5 years, nearing 3 now. Yes, she's made a great amount of strides while wrestling, but she's not a veteran. She still has a lot to learn. I recommend to go to Impact because at least over there you're going to have Trinity, who has been around for a while, Deonna Purrazzo, Jordan Grace, who could probably match your strength for strength, and several other women that can teach her something. Even a Alicia Edwards can teach her what it's like to learn the business in the back because she's been there 17 years. She could teach you what it's like to be in a promotion and how the ins and outs of a promotion is. She may not be great on the mic or in the ring, but it doesn't mean she doesn't know what's going on. So I'm just saying that. But now that this is going on, we don't know what's happening here. And I have this strange feeling that the TBS title is an issue now. Because whether Jade leaves or not, it's like these two women are like, why are we doing this with this title when it's up as a question? That's what it felt like. Chris Statlander really wanted to make it important that she was champ. And when it came to Britt Baker, she held back a bit more than she should to try and make it look right. But she held way too much back, and Chris Statlander looked like she tried too hard. But why would they do that? Statlander and Britt Baker have known each other more than a few years and wrestled each other more than a few times. What would be the point of doing that unless there's something going on in the back, particularly with the TBS title or the women's division in itself, that's an issue. And I'm not saying it's a big issue either, but something is wrong. But that's just me. I hope you enjoy this. Leave a comment below. It could be I'm probably 100% wrong and I'm just reading too much into it. But you guys tell me. When these types of things tend to come up and eventually find out, have I been wrong or right? Not saying that I've been 100% right, but I do notice stuff that most people do not. Peace.